Look out, cause here we come to save the Lilat system and then some. Welcome. So by the time this is coming out, E3 I think is over fully. We can all fucking breathe now. I'm joined for a topic I've been sitting on that I was saving for just the right moment, and this is the right one. I'm joined by Mr. Deven Mack, who's been on the Kirblog before, I think.
Y'all already know who I am.
Once or twice, yes, voice of Raccoon from Tone. We talked about Reboot, and did we do another one, I think? I don't remember. I think that might be one.
Maybe not.
I forget. Whatever. Either way. He's joining me. And I'm also joined by a first-time guest who I've known you maybe, 3-4 years?
About 5 years.
Or yeah, my God. I'm joined by...
Late 2010.
Mr. Fredryk Phox.
Howdy.
Aficionados of a particular franchise that we're going to talk about today. So this is a question that comes from the Keyblade Apprentice, asking, what are your thoughts on the Starfox series? Have you played any of the games after Star Fox 64, and how did you get introduced to the series? So these two and myself are all big fans of Space Fix, amongst many people that I know. And I wanted to bring them on because I thought that they would be good to weigh in on this subject. But I actually want to start with you two guys. Usually when I do these kind of things, I'm like, oh, I'm going to talk about my history of how I got into it. But I think you guys probably got into it technically before I did, because I did not start with the Super Nintendo Star Fox. So either of you guys, if you want to start off and just kind of talk about how y'all got just captivated by it. If at all.
I was in third grade in, I think it was March or April 1993, and I'd been watching the magazines, Electronic Gaming Monthly and whatnot. And it was all, new 3D game, and I was like, oh, it has foxes in it, so that's cool. Surprise, I like foxes. And I got the game when it came out. And to this day, my blood pressure still goes up whenever the first level starts and all that and all that stuff. It's ingrained in my head because when I was a kid, that was the big gaming moment for me. It was like Lawnmower Man, virtual reality, crazy 3D stuff. And actually, I'd say not to tell anyone, but I guess that won't help too much considering what we're doing here today. But I went in to play it. We had just gotten back from the mall. And like I said, this is March 93, so I was a small rabbit. And my mom's like, Matthew, don't you have homework to do? And I was like, what? She's like, no, you've got to go do your homework before you play this. And my sister's sitting there laughing. And I go in there and run and start doing my homework, and I start hearing the training screen where you pick your control type, and my mom and my sister going, whoa! Wow! And I'm in there I'm almost crying, and I'm hurrying up and writing down answers to the math problems as quick as I could. And I come back in just as they're leaving the base in Corneria when, they first fly out of the base and the scramble emergency thing. So yeah, whenever I hear that now, it just, I guess I get triggered. It just, yeah, that's the truth. My mom and my sister played Star Fox before I did, but it was a great game. I like the the Super Nintendo one and the 64 one are definitely my favorites. But I think I like the Super Nintendo one the best because it was my first.
Okay, and Mac, I think I've even heard you say the same, that you think actually the Super Nintendo one is a more solid game.
They're very, very close for me. I don't have a really memorable story like that because when it came out, I was maybe 5, 6 years old. I was barely sentient. But at the time, I was just really, really into anything astronomy, anything space related. Okay. So when you had a video game like this with these incredible graphics, I'd never seen anything like that. That was just my jam, completely. I loved bright, cartoony, wacky characters, and just have all of that in the same game was absolutely amazing for me. But why I specifically like some things more about the Super Nintendo game is I feel like it offers a whole lot more of a challenge. there's a whole lot more of you having to dodge in and out of all these various obstacles. Meanwhile, the 64 one feels a whole lot more like a shooting gallery as opposed to you always struggling to stay alive quite as often.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's for sure.
I guess for me, to skip ahead slightly, just because we're still talking about the SNES one, I didn't get to play that until after 64. I think it was at like a dentist or a psychiatrist's office or something. I don't know if you guys grew up with, like, sometimes they'd have like a game console in like the waiting room for kids to like play with or whatever. I don't see that ever anymore. It's just all.
Oh yeah, I still see that sometimes at the dentist.
I never see that anymore. I miss that, but like, I miss that like I'm still going. But yeah, like I remember they had the SNES one there, and I think I might have just like rented it later or something back when Blockbuster still existed. So I did play through and beat the entire thing eventually, but that was my first experience. Was like, oh, this is the first one. But my introduction to Star Fox was so I got the N64 a year later after it came out. So it was the year that Star Fox 64 was released. I think I might have told the story on some other Kirblog very briefly that I didn't get my N64 until a year later, and my Christmas present the year before that, my dad felt so bad was he got me Sonic 3D Blast on Sega Genesis, which is a terrible game.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had that one.
I too have felt your pain.
He had like a note of like, Santa Claus is really sorry he couldn't get you a Nintendo 64 this year, but here's Sonic 3D Blast, and I was still like, like 6 or 7 or whatever. So I'm just like, Sonic, yay! I don't realize that this is an awful game, whatever. But anyway,
Should have just given you a lump of coal.
It would have been the same thing, more or less.
At least it would have actually been 3-dimensional.
If it were, this was the Genesis version and not the Saturn one with the actual 3D stuff in it. So, such as like life sucks, we're privileged. Anyway, I got my N64 the year later, 97. My first 2 games were Mario 64 and Star Fox 64. And I just was clamoring for that because I remember seeing it in, again, going back to Blockbuster again, they had one of those like kiosks where you could play like, whatever couple levels they had on that demo version or whatever. And I don't even remember if like I played it. I might have, but I just remember just seeing the whole, like, it might have even just been like a video, like a showcase or something of the first level, but they were just showing the whole deal with like Peppy and Slippy and Falco talking to you and everything, and I'm just like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen, and I was just totally captivated by it. I also remember that when I got home, because the characters immediately like imprinted on me because I thought they were super cool. This was the time I was like, big into like Tiny Toons and Animaniacs and Sonic Said I Am and that kind of stuff. So I was like, whoa, animal cartoon characters, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I don't know what a furry is yet. See our previous episode with Scott. But, and I remember when I got back, but I was like, yeah, Phox and the bird guy was Falco, yeah. And then the toad guy was Slippy. And then the rabbit guy was Harry the Hare. Yeah, that was it. That's what I remembered his name as. And then, yeah, so I got it. And then I guess to lead off on talking about Star Fox 64, my dad and I've said on other N64 Kirblog's that like my dad and I used to play a lot of games together, but that was like one of our favorite just things to do when he and I would be hanging out, was just try and beat. Because, like, we had the player's guide and we knew what the full scope of the game was, but actually playing it and beating it when you're that young or when you're like him and he's not as good as video games in general, it was just, like, fun to, like, actually try and beat the game. Just getting to the end of even, like, the easiest mode, the easiest path through the Lila system that you can take. Like, that was a adventure in and of itself because we weren't that good yet. And then eventually, like, okay, now we can do the hard path. Now we can go through all the levels, and Sector Z still gives me panic attacks to this day.
Oh, yeah. I had to give the game to my buddy to get him to get the gold medals so I could get on foot mode. I could not do it. Still probably couldn't do it to this day. No way. The game was pretty hard.
I have comments about that, but your general memories of 64, I want to share those, please.
Oh, it was right after the 64 came out, like 96, 97, like you said. And every time I would go to Walmart, they would get like 4 of them, and they would instantly be gone. Like even when they didn't tell anyone when they were getting them. You know, this is back before they enforced all the stuff where like you have to have this release date and tell people when this is coming out. Like this is Plant City, Florida, Walmart. They didn't care. And I actually went in. My mother was outside. She had just gotten groceries, and she was sitting in the car, and I had like $50. And I was actually going in to get Battle Arena Toshinden for the Sega Saturn.
Oh, wow.
Just because it was the only game I could afford at the time. It was like on sale for $39.99. Everything else was like $55. And I go in, and they have a Nintendo 64, just one, sitting up there. I run out to the car crying because I'd been trying to get one for like 4 months. And my mom's just like, she sees me running up to the car. And she's like, honey, what's wrong? And I'm like, Mommy, they have a Nintendo 64. And like she didn't, and this is what blows my mind. She didn't even skip a beat. She's like, all right, hold on a minute. I'm like, and she's like, how much is it? And however much it was, $200 or $250 or something, I don't remember. And she gave me like $300 bills and said, all right, you bring back my change. And I went in and got one, and she'll tell you to this day that she was so happy that I got it because she sat there playing Mario 64 longer than I did. She had never, not since Starfox on Super Nintendo, seen something that cool.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, I don't know. The N64 just seemed to be like a really good like parent console. It was like, I mean, just before that, I mean, like my siblings, they grew up with NES and Super Nintendo and Genesis and everything. But like, I have so many distinct memories of older folks, not just my parents, but like being intrigued by all of the games. Star Fox was always one that I think was kind of a constant because it's so easy to just kind of pick up and know what you're doing. And just go with it. But so. And then Mack, did you get it like around the time that it came out, or did you have to wait a while like we did? Or
I think I got it maybe a year or two after it came out. I remember because I'd wanted an N64 for the longest time, and I was finally able to get it on my birthday. But my little brother wanted Mario 64, so he actually cried, and we got Mario 64 and Star Fox on my birthday.
Nice.
I'm like, okay, as long as I get my game, that's all that matters. But yeah, I had first seen it on display in a Walmart, and it was just the coolest thing in the world to me. Like, what? They got voices in video games now? How can they do that? And I remember I was so incredibly confused the first time I played it, though, because when you've got your wingmen, you've got Peppy, Slippy, and Falco, and they've got those icons with the letter above each of them. And I thought like the P was for like power, and the F was for fuel, and the S was for shield. So I thought I was just supposed to shoot them.
Start letting it rip
and
on all your teammates.
And yeah, fully, man. Like, let it rip, yeah. And they're all like, "Hey, Einstein, I'm on your side." And I'm like, "What? But I just wanted to get some fuel." So I didn't understand that mess. But you know, once I got it home, once I got the game, you know, I was on that all day long. That was literally like my life. After school, before school, getting all them gold medals. That was fully my jam.
I tried. I could never get them.
While we're still on 64, do you guys have any like specific memories of like stand-up parts of like particular levels or like moments? Because like it's one of those games you really can like pick out like, oh, I remember like such and such planet where like this and that happened. Like, oh god, I really wanted to do this, but like.
All I remember is beating it on hard and getting like the James McCloud ending and getting too many feels and feeling really bad for Phox. Like that guy's gonna have so much to tell his psychiatrist when he gets home. Because I beat it so many times, and I was just like, man, the ending sucks. It's just, you get to the end, and they're running, and then the credits roll, and then it's like all those horror movies where it's like, he's gone, he's finally gone, yeah, let's go home. And then it fades out to roll the credits, and you hear the or whatever, the classic horror movie credit trope. But it's Star Fox, it's just, the end, and then you see the Andross head faded in the background and go, and it's just like, really, come on. And something about it just didn't feel right. Like there was a Chaos Emerald I missed somewhere, and then I finally like started getting all of the good accomplished missions instead of complete missions or whatever, and got to the end where you shoot Andross and then all the stuff falls away and he's this giant brain thing. And that was absolutely terrifying to me as a child. I had nightmares about that.
It's pretty gross. Like for Nintendo standards, it's pretty gross.
Obviously the biggest whoa moment for me in that game was when it fades to white and you think he's going to die, and then his dad shows up and he guides you out of the place. That was so many feels.
For me, definitely same on that. Like getting to actually see that ending was huge. I think once I had conquered like the general sort of way of doing things and like seeing like what the better ending was, I think no, I lie. What I think more personally accomplishing to me was finishing Macbeth. Because I was a big train kid. People who have heard the fucking Thomas the Tank Engine Kirblog know that. But the Macbeth stage, because it's really tough. Like it's still to this day, sometimes I have some trouble with it, and like you have to like be really like 100% focused and on your, or at least I do, to get the proper route.
Shooting the track things, the 7 or 8, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
That's hard.
Shoot the 8 switches.
You have to be holding.
You
have to be holding the brake down like the entire time to get even close to getting that right.
While the
really
stupid bat, like Macbeth, I think is what it was called, like the stupid bat thing with the train, like doing the like, oh, here comes my tail. Oh, I'm gonna scoop you up and distract you for like 10 whole seconds, and I'm just like, no, and then the explosion of the train hitting the weapons depot. Like, I'll even go as far to say it's even more satisfying than killing Andross.
Yeah,
just because
they're like, okay, stop it.
Stop it. Hit plus 50. I'm just like,
and even Slippy is so cold there, man. I can see the look on their stupid faces.
like, dude, you just straight up murdered someone.
That's the thing about that whole game. You're constantly like murdering people, and then you get this fun little happy fanfare, and it's still all so
that
fun.
That is one other memory I have about Star Fox 64 when you beat the first guy. My sister was in there. Like I said, I was like 13 years old, and she's like a year or two older than me, and we're playing it. Or I'm playing it and she's watching, and she's like, oh, this is kind of cute. And I'm like, yeah, it's awesome. And then I forget what he says, the who are you guys? We're Star Fox. And he's like, you're never gonna beat Andross. Boom, and explodes. And I look over at my sister and she's got this mortified look on her face. She's like, did that guy just die? I was like, I don't know. And then I got all like introspective about it later and didn't talk for a couple days.
Because like as a kid, like, okay, I didn't have that like cognitive disconnect to it, or I guess I did have a cognitive disconnect to it, where I'm just like, okay, cool, I beat the bad guy, I'm to the next level. I think JonTron made a joke at one point where it's just like, my emperor, I failed you. It's like, oh, I'm going out with a sense of genuine like belittlement and like unfinished business. Like, no, I'm just like, he's dead. What have I done? It's like, yeah, we're Star Fox. I'm Slippy, Peppy, Falco. Like, where am I? Like, you don't really think about it, but it's scary.
It didn't really hit me until you had that boss on Sector Y, the guy with the sort of Gundam-like thing.
Yeah.
You know, cocky little freaks. Yeah. And then you see like his arms and legs go.
Yeah, oh my god, I forgot about that.
Sector Y is a personal favorite. I love I've restarted that one so many. No, Sector Y and Area Z I started over so many times. Okay. Just remember one more. Actually, hold on, Matt. Do you have any other like particular moments that you wanted to from 64 you wanted to hit up, or have we like covered most of them?
For me, it's really everything about Area 6. That to me is just the ultimate level in the game. You've got all this action, you've got all this chatter between like the enemy commander and his second in command. It really feels like you're in the center of this incredible war going on.
That's the one where they're all like, they're through the second line.
Exactly. All that
That
stuff.
level was so hard. That was punishment.
Yeah. It's incredibly hard.
Mm-hmm.
I remember. Yeah, that I think was the one that I had the most trouble getting the medal on because So to kind of go back to that too, this is a little funny story with it. So I didn't accomplish all the medal stuff until years later on the virtual console, and I was a little disappointed. I was like, oh, the on foot multiplayer is like not as cool as I thought it was going to be. But I mean, I think. Well, we'll get into that when we move on to the next game, but on foot Starfox ended up not being as cool as I think anybody imagined when we were young. Yeah, but either way, I was even just for the sake of like I'm finally going to do this years later. I'm good enough to be able to get all the medals. I can do this. I believe in myself. So I was going through, and my girlfriend at the time was on Skype talking with like some other friends of mine, and we were hanging out, and I was playing Starfox in the background on Virtual Console, and she's just having to hear me. She and our friends, this was like many years ago now, are just having to hear me like no, and then I have to like start over the level, like whatever it is. And I just simply remember Sector Y took me so many goddamn tries because you have to like really know exactly what you're doing to get I think it's like 150 on that one.
Yeah.
And the part where you can like either it's like I'll take care of everything below, or I got everything above. Like you have to choose which path you go. You have to go up because that gives you more opportunities to I think get more shots in, so you can get the medal. And I screwed it up, and all they heard over Skype was me going, no, I don't want to go down. I don't want to go down. I don't want to go down. And I'm just like, Chris, you're all right over there? got some unwarranted company. I'm just like, no, you get medal.
And then you hear Falco's voice. Is that the best you can do?
Thank you for that. I want to go check out the VG Cats adaptation of that.
Oh yeah, God. I think everybody's seen that at this point, hopefully.
The
Starfox
best and
Adventures.
worst thing I've ever done.
Speaking of best and worst thing ever done, more like let's talk about All right, okay. I like to give a little bit less crap to Starfox Adventures for a few reasons. For those of you who don't know the basic history of this, it was supposed to not be a Star Fox game. It was supposed to be Rare was working on it for a really long time. It was going to be an N64 game. It was an original IP. And I remember because the whole deal with it is that it was going to be the first time that they made a game with like a lot of lore and like really in-depth story to it. And they had all this like backstory, and there's people who are like hardcore Rare fans that have like, you know, gotten hold of like old like documents and things and like found like what the whole, you know, original concept of it was. And then it just became, I don't know if like the Miyamoto stopped by Rare one day and he was like, mate, this is a Star Fox game. I don't know if that's bullshit. It very well could be for all we know. But either way, it turned out the way it did. It became a Star Fox game. It gave us Crystal. It's, you know, it is what it is. Because of like the sort of muddled like history of it, I try to give it a little bit of a break because it's like, all right, it's not fair to them. It's not fair to Nintendo. It turned out that way and like whatever. But I don't know. Do you guys have anything to say about when you played that back in the day? Like, was there anything positive that came from it? Or even like when
Sure. I reserved my copy. I played hooky at my pizza delivery job to go pick it up from the Brandon Town Center Mall when I lived in Florida. Yeah, it was September 23rd, 2002. And I went out. I on purposely took a really long delivery out to Antioch, which no matter where you live, there's always a town called Antioch that is very far away from wherever you are. And I just called and told them I had a flat tire and somebody was coming to help me fix it. And I was actually walking into, I think it was Software Etc. Software Etc. or Babbage's or Electronics Boutique or whatever, and got my copy and did a couple more deliveries and went home. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is it, this is it, this is it. Oh my God, this is it, this is it. And then it's blue fox chick flying on a pterodactyl, and I'm like, yeah.
Hey, Chris, Palace.
Yeah. Kego Ergum Flurg General Scales. We have a new language except for proper pronouns.
Ika, Uka, Inka, Dinka, Do, General Scales.
Exactly.
I gotta love those stock sound effects too that you've heard in everything else.
Oh yeah, the thing, like the cube things from Doom 2 at the end boss, and like every movie where fire gets started in the road during a car chase. That, you know what I mean? That the one that's like the thing, like, you know, everybody knows the Wilhelm scream and the Howie scream and all that. Yeah, not only is that a sound for fire starting, that's the sound of you firing a projectile at a ship. And yeah, it just, I trudged through it just to get to where I could see what Phox looked like in the game and got to play as him. Because I wanted this since the Super Nintendo game. I was on AOL message boards back in like 95, 96, and everybody's like, oh, new Star Fox game. And I was like, yeah, I want one where you can actually get out of your ship and walk around and fight stuff on foot. And I kind of got what I wished for, and kind of didn't. And
because I mean, even past adventures like in Assault and even in like the multiplayer N64 unlockable mode, like it's not that great. So it's like, oh, what's that? But in concept, it sounds so cool because we like the characters in the actual like R-Wings, and we want to see them. Oh, I want to like move around and like platform with them like Mario. Or it's just a kind of like built-in sort of thing with it. But then you realize like, oh, like just as a game, this isn't as fun as just being in the ship or in the tank or the submarine or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, just like even just, you know, in between missions, even if you're not fighting stuff, if you're just walking around in the Great Phox updating things, like a Mass Effect type thing. Yeah, you're inside the ship and you go and talk to people and update stuff and check this. Just not just, oh, you're in a cockpit. Oh, you're in a cockpit. Oh, you're in a cockpit. You know, just like kind of like what Star Fox Assault was going to. I'm sure we'll get to that in a little bit. But anyway, all I really have to say about Starfox Adventures, even now, it is a pretty game, and it was kind of a fun game, but it just didn't feel like a Star Fox game. I loved the model for Fox McCloud. The characters all looked cool in the game, but yeah, and then that was also the game that introduced Star Fox's Yoko Ono, pretty much, and that can't be forgiven.
See, and it's so funny to me because everybody blames that game, but it's like, okay, look, guys, Nintendo chose that not Rare. Nintendo chose to keep her in there as a thing and make her a Star Fox character, and they had her be the fourth character because they made Assault. It's like that was Nintendo's decision. They did that, and now all of a sudden, say, oh no, what's Crystal? It doesn't exist. And like, guys, you can't run away from that. It's like that's bullshit.
At the end of the day, that game to me always has been and always will be just play Zelda.
Yeah. I'll agree with you there. It's the exact same layout and everything. The same, like, you can't jump unless you blindly run toward the ledge and hope that the game doesn't glitch and make you jump for you.
Mm-hmm. And I remember, Mack, I think it was the last time you came to visit, we were up like super late, and we were watching, like, somebody found the footage that was used for like all the trailers and everything at the time when it was coming out as Dinosaur Planet, and we watched the like hour long worth of stuff from the beta of it, and like a lot of the intro, the dialogue was the same, and then even like when Saber comes in, it's literally the same dialogue, except he's like, I am Saber from the planet Animus. I've come to rescue the prince. And he's like, oh, as opposed to, I am Fox McCloud of the Star Fox team. It's literally the only difference. And you know what? If it turned out the way it was supposed to, like, maybe it wouldn't have been amazing, but I bet really good money people would have liked that game a lot more. But
There's a chance. I feel people still might have said just play Zelda, but
Probably.
it wouldn't have had the backlash of being this game ruined Star Fox.
yeah, for sure. Because like, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't fully agree with like, it ruined everything because it's like that's a little too black and white. But and
Nah,
also,
to me, it was just the beginning of ruining it.
Yeah, we have to wait until they no longer make Star Fox games because I really feel like this new one is going to help a little bit at least.
for sure.
Okay.
I will admit, just because I'm a sap, I was like, I like the ending to Adventures. It's like, this is cute and fun. I can live with this.
Fox's temperature is rising. Oh.
Everything's gonna be just fine.
The saxophone music. Oh man.
Star Fox Assault. I really, really wanted to like that game. But it's just Mac. I want you to start with this one because I feel like you kind of have had like the most to say about that one from like all the conversations I've had with you guys like off Kirblog.
Yeah, I didn't play Assault until way after it came out too.
I love the soundtrack. I absolutely love it.
Yes.
Orchestral music, great. This is perfect for space atmosphere. I have never before finished a game and regretted so greatly finishing a game. The entire thing, those on-foot missions, just a complete chore to me. And I wasn't really crazy about the space ones too, because they still felt kind of clunky. The R-Wing to me never looked so non-aerodynamic. And it just kind of felt like I was flying some kind of, I don't know, just some giant weird shaped kite thing. And I didn't feel like I could just zoom in and out left and right like I wanted to. I just had this hunk of metal that just kind of floated around.
Mm-hmm.
And really, there was so many things about it that just seemed like, okay, they had good ideas, but they didn't really know how to execute them properly. I mean, from a story standpoint to just a voice direction standpoint,
Yeah.
to is this guy some kind of demon? I'm like, y'all don't know how to write a Star Fox game.
I will agree. There's just the voice acting in that game, except for Panther. I think Panther's voice actor did all right.
Oh well, when
just
you
like
got Dave Scully, he's
the Phox hiding under the thing. I forget what he says. It's like they're coming to get you now, and Phox is just like, oh, it's like so and so's timing is just as sterling as ever. Here we go again. We'll be right back.
No, I remember. I think I've shown both of you guys this at some point in like some other calls, but there was a comparison video. I don't know how the hell or why this happened, or maybe it was just time or budget or some shit. I have no idea. But because I know it was delayed for a while, like it was going to be Armada at one point, and then it just took them a long time to get it out. And never happened.
And I think it was going to be the Ace Combat team that did it too, but they ended up not doing that.
Yeah. It went through like some weird like stuff that I don't think ever.
Heck, it was gonna be on the Triforce arcade system too, so it was going to be an arcade game.
Yeah, I remember
as well.
the
That's
footage
right.
of
Yeah. I totally forgot about that. I just remember there was the video that I think I showed both of you guys where it's like the comparison of the cutscene animation, where in the Japanese version, which was done first and then they were dubbing over it, as is often the case, they like had like some really solid like facial animation.
Yeah,
like,
I heard they took those out in the American one.
Yeah, and it's just erased so they look like these, and it was all like mocap. You could tell it's like very mocap kind of character movements, and it was just having flashbacks of like Sonic 06, where it's just like these these like kind of mascot headed characters just kind of like bobbing around, and like there's no like emotion in their faces, and especially like no offense to Jim Walker, definitely got better when they had Brawl come up, but granted he had barely any dialogue. But in that game, like, I don't know, or maybe it was the direction thing or something. I don't know. Like, we don't know. But, like, I just remember, like, Alicia Gladwell, I think her name was. She was good on Crystal. Like, say what you will about Crystal. Her performance is pretty good.
I'll agree there.
Acting circles around him in every scene where he's got to be awkward. Like, a mission together at last. And then fucking, like, Tricky. Like, He's like, oh, this isn't a conversation for children. And I'm just like, stop, please. Oh my God, I don't want to listen to this. Like, and I've heard so much like worse acting than that on so many other games, but like, I think it's just because I had such attachment to those characters, and it's like, oh guys, I can tell what you're trying to do, and I want to like this, but it's just, oh, that like sums up my whole kind of thought about like really the entire game. It was so like, I see what you're going for, and I like the idea of this and this kind of, and this is kind of cool, and this is a little fun, but it's something about it. I can't even fully describe it. It's just not that fun.
Everything about it was just so awkward to me. It's like, you know, that old friend who used to be cool, and then they stumble into the room and they're all like drunk and fat, and they're like, "Hey guys," and I'm just looking like, "Hey, yeah,
hi."
I'm gonna,
Your life took a really when you went to Dinosaur Planet, dude. You took a little bit of a bad turn there. What's going on? Does anybody have anything to say about Command?
The Voldemort of the series.
Is that what you call it?
We really, I don't know, with my friends when I do the live streams and stuff, like, we really prefer not to discuss that one. It's like the years when all your friends bring up the years from middle school. They're like, remember all those Sonic the Hedgehog fan fictions you used to write, and you put yourself in them and everything, and blah blah. It's just like, no, please don't. Yeah, most everybody had something like that, and then that's Starfox's whole fanficky teenage imagination thing, because every single ending for that game seemed like a 12-year-old fanfic writer's input. Granted, they did a couple of our friends that hung out in the R-Wing Landing chat room. I don't know if it was from someone. I don't think it was actually Dylan Cuthbert, but it was somebody with Too Interactive or somebody, I can't remember, came into the IRC chat and asked if there was anything that anybody in there wanted in the game. I guess it was like the only like gathering of Starfox fans they could Google and find at the time.
I totally forgot about you. You told me this story.
And, and my friend Hoshi, she was like, make one of the R-Wings pink. And I believe I'd never played Command. I believe one of the characters had a pink ship, so I don't know if they just did it anyway, but they did. It was somebody, and they confirmed it, and they came in there and asked him that, and she was the only one that replied, because everybody else was like, or they were like, this is fake. We're getting trolled. Like Mike West, God love his heart, he came to the Starfox online forums. I've talked to him a couple times on Facebook. He's really nice, and his son's in a cool band. And he came to the Starfox forums once and just thanked everybody for liking the games. And a couple of people and me were all like, "Hey man, it's really cool. Love your stuff. Glad you're here." Blah blah. But like 90% of the people were like, you won't believe this. They were like, "Oh, I don't believe you. This is fake. Send me a recording of you saying my fan character's name in Fox McCloud's voice, like, or really? Say the name of this website," and blah blah blah. And he was actually going to go and like actually say something, and I don't know if he did, and that's cool that he was like trying just to let people know it was him and appreciate everything. But I was so mad. That's the only time I've ever gone on an internet forum and gotten mad about somebody. I was like, you guys leave this dude alone. It's really him. Quit trying to get him to say your lines. It's I hate when people do that. But anyway,
I remember actually a friend of mine, Jamie McGonigal, who's a voice actor back in New York. He worked on the 4Kids dub of One Piece when they were doing that many years ago, and it was on TV Tone at the time when that existed, and he was basically trying to not do like damage control, but like get people to understand like this is the reason why this dub is the way it is and why they had to make these changes. And he was just an actor; he wasn't like a production person or anything. But just everybody was so like mean spirited and like douchey, and I'm just like, This guy is an actor. He doesn't make the decisions to make Sanji's cigarettes into lollipops. Fucking lay off. Like, come on, guy. But on the Mike West thing, I actually am really glad. Like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say, well, for one thing, for the Star Fox 64 3D, I'm really happy they managed to get him and Alyssa Brown, and I think one other person from the original cast back for that. And it sounds like they're all carrying over for Star Fox Zero. But I know everybody's like, oh, ha, 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 fire for the fight reactions that he's got on Smash. But you know what? For me, this is going to sound so hollow, but I really mean this. Just getting to hear, because Mike West didn't get to do the Smash 64 that he, would have, and, for all intents and purposes should have voiced Phox in. Getting to hear him do the "come on" taunt was really, really cool. And I was really happy that he got to do that in that game. Yeah. So it was neat. But anyway, I guess that probably now brings us to Zero. So,
For 64 3DS, I played that briefly.
Oh, right.
It seemed neat. I'm sorry. I have to say one thing about 64 3DS. The Tanuki trainer mode guy sounded very creepy. Like, use the left joystick to navigate, or I'll drink your screams.
Wait, did he have a voice this time?
Oh yes.
Yeah, they gave him a voice.
Yeah, and it does not fit. You know, like the little bug-eyed Tanuki dude with the wrench who's pointing at the screen. Yeah, he sounds like, come over here and give me a kiss. The voice itself it sounds like it would be great for some other character, but it just I don't know. It seemed very, very out of place.
Because he looks so happy, when he's doing motions. And
I thought they'd give him some kind of cute young thing, and then to hear that almost booming giant 300-pound black man thing, it was amusing, and then it was scary.
Well, Panther was the only 300-pound black man we needed in Starfox. Let's be honest. Or I guess maybe Latino voiced by a black guy character.
Quite possibly.
I love David Scully, so. Well, actually, no, Mack, you're like a champ at 64 3D. Like you did everything in that game, from what I know.
I mean, well, again, it goes back to how I played the heck out of 64. I mean, that's just my jam. You give that to me, and I know I got every line memorized. I got every area memorized. I played it so much. It's just that simple to me.
And because it's even harder, they have the super medals or whatever. We have to get twice as much as it was in the original, and you're just yeah, it's easy. I can get 300 on Corneria, and I'm just how?
It's not that bad. No, it's not that bad. I think it was maybe 170 or 190 or something like that. But it's not that insane.
Either way, though, it's impressive.
Maybe it's insane for you simpletons.
Well, yeah, I am a Starfox nub. Let's be fair. No, I only got to play it on your copy of it when you had because you had a 3DS before I did, and we played it in 2011 when we were recording Tome Episode 2, I think. It was fun. So, so we don't. Okay, there's much to be excited about with Zero coming out, but understandably we can be hesitant and honest about our feelings. So tell me, truly, what do you guys feel about this? Just from the stuff that you've seen from the direct and the Treehouse stuff that they've been streaming with the game. I've been keeping a close eye on everything. My friends over at Game Explain got to try it out, and they said it's could still use some work in the controls, but it's pretty solid so far. They're still pretty excited about it. So what y'all think?
Yeah, I can't speak on the controls. Obviously, like you said, they're still working on it, and I haven't played it. But can we talk about the puppets?
Please.
Did I assume you guys saw the whole puppet intro?
Of course, yeah. Of course.
I still wasn't.
I gotta go back.
Yeah, I still wasn't sure when I saw that, and Miyamoto's puppet comes out with the Starfox shirt, and they're all puppets, and it's wait, I remember. The last time I ever heard anything with Miyamoto talking about puppets was about Star Fox, and he's got the Star Fox shirt on, but no, it's not. And then they get the other guys, and they're in there, and he pulls the paper down, and he's got a fox muzzle, and I'm like, no, no, and then it goes over and Iwata's got the bunny ears, and I'm like, no, I still don't believe it. And then it goes over to Reggie coughing up the blue feathers, and then I started getting teared up. I cried. I totally wussy moment. I got teared up. Like it was at that exact moment, like when Reggie coughed up the blue feathers. I was like, okay, yeah, they're turning into the Starfox characters. This is going to start with Starfox, and everything after that looked really cool. No sign of crystal or fire breathing talking dinosaurs babbling in tongues or anything like that. I have high hopes for it, and I was very happy with everything that I saw.
Mack.
Pleasantly surprised.
What's actually crazy to me is last time I remember visiting your live stream, you were talking about like wanting to make your own Starfox puppets too.
Yeah,
so to that, like, happen.
I don't know if I will, especially after seeing those. I have a sneaking suspicion that Jim Henson Workshop had something to do with the puppets for that. Even the puppet acting, the way that the puppets acted and everything. If it wasn't them, it was somebody who used to work for them, because that was really, really, really well done.
I mean, you know what?
Absolutely.
Knowing Nintendo, I bet you that they just shelled out the money to just flat out do it with like the Jim Henson Workshop.
Yeah.
I think because like I think the staff puppets, like in that opening part where they're filming them, I think that they literally just were like stock Muppet characters.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah, me seeing the gameplay footage for the first time, it was really, really cool to see Starfox looking not terrible.
Yeah, not like in Command, like a rubber shark duck thing.
Which introduced, what I refer to as Chunky Head Fox, which influenced his design for years to come.
The Chihuahua Fox. Chihuahua duck shark looking fox thing. And he still hasn't.
Pretty much.
I'm sorry. He still hasn't shaken all of that off completely, but he does look better in this game.
Yeah. The texturing like really helps for sure compared to what we have.
Absolutely. But not counting 64 3D, I'd basically reached a point with the series where I was just like ready for it to be done. Like, I want the next game to be Andros kills everybody, and then there's no more Starfox. I was at that point. So to see something that basically gives me some hope, hey, this could be a turning point. They've got the walking missions again, but they're doing it more in that Starfox 2 style, which I always really love. The concept of the transforming R-wing is amazing looking. Yeah. And I've really got some hopes here. My one concern is that they don't bork it up with the control scheme and everything. But that aside, the graphics look beautiful. You've got really good voice direction. I can tell that Mike West is not trying to sound like he's 17 years old again. They're letting him relax. Fox sounds older, but sounds comfortable, sounds more confident. I'm really believing in that character. And what more can I say? High hopes, and I hope to see more good stuff in the future.
For sure. It's funny because I remember, I don't know, maybe you guys have seen this before. There was an interview with Miyamoto in, I think it was the Nintendo Power Star Fox 64 Player's Guide. And he was talking about like, his original inspiration with like going to the shrine and like seeing the Fox statue.
And the arches and all that.
Yeah, and like drawing animal characters when he was a kid. And just that little intro video where he was talking about just like the inspiration for like what made Star Fox interesting to him and cool in the first place. Having that, I think, mixed in there with the actual gameplay stuff, I think was really effective because, like, it reminded me of it. It really also sold like the core of what it is that they're trying to do with this. Because right now, I'm confident and hopeful because they have all of the right elements in place. Miyamoto directing and overseeing this. Platinum Games makes really good shit. I've never played Bayonetta, but I love the Wonderful 1-on-1. I think it's some of the same staffers who I think have probably worked on Beautiful Joe at some point, if I'm not mistaken.
Some of them. It's not as many as before. They were Clover Studio back then, but
Okay.
still, they've always done great work.
Right. Yeah. It's just that team, like, that is a team that I'm perfectly, like, I have no issues trusting with that IP. Just same thing with, like, retro studios with, like, Metroid and Donkey Kong Country, where it's like they're doing great stuff with both those franchises. So, and from the way the videos are looking, for the most part, the control, like, in concept, sounds like it would work pretty well, like with the two sticks and like having some of the more complicated moves just be like matched to certain buttons. Like you can just do the somersault or the U-turn, etc. that way.
I'm hoping they'll give us the option for something more traditional.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's going to depend on like how the levels are structured around like all of the new stuff, because I am super like interested in the chicken walker, the tank, which apparently the Landmaster's like alternate form I just heard today is called the Grav Master, I think, because it like can like an anti-gravity kind of floaty thing.
Okay.
And then there's the little helicopter thing that drops the little robot, which I guess is kind of the mechanic of the security system game thing that Miyamoto was working on. Just kind of like integrating that into it. So it just, the missions sound really cool. The mechs and like all the environments look really cool. The dialogue feels like it should again. Definitely the voice direction and characterization is much stronger now. They have it seems like they really have all the right elements in place to make this a really, really solid game. So all I can hope is that they will utilize those elements to the best of their ability, and we'll get something really, really, really solid. And either way, I'm buying it first day for my Wii U.
Oh yeah, me too. I was expecting, honestly, to see some stuff that was like, whoa, cool. Oh, that's awesome. No, but this is cool. But no, none of that. I was completely 110% pleasantly surprised about everything. And the presentation was good. Like you said, the voice acting was on point. Everybody sounds more professional. And just the levels. Like there's a stealth mission where you're sneaking into a place to rescue Cat Monroe, and then there's another place where you're rescuing another character, and actually that there's 3 missions where you rescue Peppy in the Landmaster level, you're rescuing Cat with the gyro wing in the first level, you're rescuing General Pepper in his skyscraper thing. Like you're actually doing things for other characters and stuff, instead of random character shows up in the middle of mission. Hey, character name, been a long time. Yeah.
Whoa, I can't believe it. Actually, dealer. I'm sorry, I couldn't not. Yeah, no, I agree. The much more not much, so much more, but like the more in-depth story kind of usage and
I'm not looking for a Mass Effect. I just want a good Starfox game with story. That's the main thing I want.
I think somewhere halfway between 64 and Assault, because like Assault wasn't like overly complicated. It's just the story concept was a little like lame with like the Aperoids or whatever.
Yeah, the delivery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think this one will. I don't know. I just have like a fair amount of confidence that like this is going to turn out pretty good. And yeah, when I think it's dropping end of the year, I believe.
December, November, something like that, I'm sure.
So fingers
Holiday
crossed.
Season.
Well, okay. Actually, I don't have a good way to end this off. Favorite Starfox line ever?
Oh gosh.
That's a tough one.
Oh, you caught me off guard here.
Is it an awful one?
Well, there's one where Slippy's like, these guys are really starting to tick me off. And,
My dad
and the
overheard that.
filtering
Like,
on the Nintendo 64, the filtering of the audio really makes it sound like he's saying, piss me off. And the reason I love that line is because it's the one time that my mother walked in the room while I was playing, and it was on that mission, and he said that, and my mother turned around and said, Matthew? Was that the frog one? I was like, yeah. She was like, did did he just say a bad word? I was like, no. It says on the text. He said, tick me off. I heard him. She's like, I don't know. You're going to have to start that mission over and let me hear that.
You're going to have to let me play that mission, honey.
Yeah, like, this is back before cussing in video games was a big thing.
Of course, yeah.
But it's probably the line I've got the most laughs from.
Okay. What about you, Mac?
It's tough to choose, so I'm gonna go with 2. In terms of just pure acting, there's so much good stuff from Falco. One of my favorite lines is Sector X, when you're seeing that the whole base has been destroyed, and you get somebody beat us here. It's all gone.
That one always pops to mind first. What is it about that one?
I feel like it's one of those moments that kind of makes you forget that you're playing something about stupid-looking animals in space.
It's so real. It's just something about like what's going on here. It's just was it Bill Johns that was the original guy? I think
I do believe so.
Yeah, he was. With all due respect to the guy who's matching him and a bunch of the other characters, like that guy was really good on Falco.
Yeah. Anybody trying to take that role, I mean, you got your work cut out for you.
Yeah. Tell that to Edward Bosco. Yeah, you heard me. I said it. He's never gonna listen.
Another one that's up there for me is Pigma. I love just about everything Pigma says because I consider him to be the Meowth of the series.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
He's got that line, Daddy screamed real good before he died.
Yeah.
I'm like, this isn't a Nintendo game?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the new game, I don't know if you saw, but in the direct footage, my friends at Game Explain recorded the direct audio from the couple test levels, and they had there's a stage where you're defending like some kind of like space ring, like a space colony or something like that.
Thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then Pigma comes
treating
in,
me like a pork
I'm here for a
roast.
job, of course, but I still get to have a little fun while I'm at it. And I'm just like, oh, he's good. It looks like Pigma.
Mm-hmm.
For me, definitely, like, just most of what Falco says, I think my favorite Falco line... Falco deserves his own category, more or less, so Fred, if you got a Falco line, weigh in. But time to show the monkeys who's boss is just so...
Oh, goodness, yes.
That's a good one.
All of his lines just get me so amped up and make me feel like I'm in the middle of something special.
For sure, yeah.
Or they make me want to punch him in the face.
Don't fight!
Hey, Einstein!
Okay, no, you know what? No, I'll give. I'm sure. I don't know if this was improv or they just rewrote it or whatever, but I will give credit. Jazz Adams, I think the new guy who's playing him in Smash Brothers, replacing "You Want a Piece of Me" or whatever it was originally. Get some. I'm just like, oh, that's so Falco.
I do like it.
And also just not only because. And Fred, I don't know if you're probably familiar with this cartoon, but both because it's an amazingly pivotal moment at the end of the game, beautifully delivered by Mike West in both characters, and also because of the joke it reminds me of afterward when there's that silence after Andros is defeated. Don't ever give up, my son. Father? Yes. Now get me some potato chips. And have you seen Starfox in a nutshell on Newgrounds?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Shout out to that guy. Right, we're at the end. So I guess Mac, I'm sure folks, I guess technically already know where to find you, but if you want to plug your Twitter and Facebook again real quick, please go.
Yeah, I'm Mack the Actor, MACTHE Actor on the Twitters and the Tumble Dryers and the Facebooks, and yeah, that's where I'm at.
Is it okay for me to say at this point, hopefully we'll see you at Anime Expo for the Tome panel? Is that okay for me to say?
We'll see.
Okay, I'm sorry I was premature and I was like, Matt's going to be there. And I'm like, well, we don't know 100% for sure. But hopefully we're going to
put a pin in that.
You're always premature.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Fredryk, where would you like people to follow your thing that you're up to? Well, first of all, we didn't even talk about part of also why I brought you on is because there's this Starfox thing that you're known for that you've been working on for a while.
It's all right. Yeah, I'm making a fanimation, a little animated fan series of Starfox, aptly titled Starfox the Animated Series. It's just Starfox the Animated Series .tumblr.com. You can just I'm sure you can just Google Starfox, the animated series. It'll bring something up. I'm on Twitter as Fredryk_Phox, and that's spelled FREDRYK_PHOX, I think.
Probably.
I don't tweet that often, but I mean, the main thing I use Twitter for and Tumblr is I do live streams of me working on the cartoon and stuff. You'll have to excuse. I think there's an ice cream man going by outside.
Oh no, it's okay. He can join us. Ask him what his favorite Star Fox moment is.
Oh, there's actually an ice cream truck that had the Mario 2 music. The
Really?
It was just like 4 seconds
That's
of it looping over and over again. I went out and bought one of those Ninja Turtle ice cream pops that look nothing like the Ninja Turtles, and told
I
them
eat
that
Sonic heads because I like taking pictures of me eating the Sonic heads and making people sad.
But yeah, I mean that's my Twitter and that's my Tumblr. I live stream every couple days to show everybody the work that I'm doing on the cartoon. Yeah, check it out if you want. It's pretty neat.
Coolio. All right. Well, I'll have links to all of their everything in the description, so go check them out. Thank you guys both for joining us. This might possibly be our longest Kirblog ever. We might have topped all the Dragon Ball Z ones that I've been doing lately.
Right on.
That is an accomplishment in and of itself. Yeah, so thank you guys, and I guess in the comments below, share with us your favorite Star Fox moments or characters or lines or memories of each game. You know, please tell us your tales of furry creatures shooting each other in space. And if you have
minds want to know,
I mostly maybe they'll be looking at the comments. I mean, often they will say. But
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
trying to not go there, but thanks, McLeod.
follow me, Fox, on Facebook, Twitter, and God, I can't even say that with a straight face, saying it as a different character. Exactly. There you go.
Thank you for listening, everybody. If you do have future ideas for Kirblog topics, leave a comment about that too, or hit me up on all the social media shit that I've repeated every episode. Yeah, that'll do it. Thank y'all, and and Andros won't have his way with me.
We're back.